Welcome back for another deep dive with us. This time we're going to be looking at the Stanberry family memoir, It's Never Too Late Sometimes.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to pick out some of the most interesting pieces of this book for you today.
Yeah.
And really just give you a taste, to pique your interest.
Right.
So are you ready to jump into this one?
Absolutely. This book is just full of insights, and it's not just a feel-good story.
Right.
It's about how a family's response to a medical crisis actually ignited this passion for learning.
Yeah.
That led them to some really, really impressive
I mean,
accomplishments.
7 University of London degrees between all of them.
Yeah. It's amazing.
It's incredible. So we're going back in time to May 2003, and the story actually starts with Yvonne.
Right.
Hearing a voice that no one else can hear. And this voice is telling her that her daughter, Samantha, is sick and that time is of the essence.
It's a really chilling opening. It kind of sets the stage for this frantic race against time.
Yeah.
And that voice compels Yvonne to just abandon everything she was doing, carefully laid plans, and rush Samantha to the hospital.
Right. And that's just the beginning. I mean, the book takes us through this whirlwind of different hospital visits.
Yeah.
With Yvonne encountering all these doctors who just seem to raise more questions than answers.
Exactly.
You can almost feel this mounting tension as they search for a diagnosis.
Right.
But what I thought was really interesting is how the book portrays Yvonne during this, crazy stressful time.
Right.
Instead of panicking, she really focuses on gathering information.
Right.
And just trying to understand the situation.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she's actively researching and taking notes, asking tons of questions.
And I think that really highlights how knowledge can be empowering.
Oh, absolutely.
Even in those situations where you're facing something completely unknown.
Yeah, for sure.
There's one point where a doctor at the first hospital even tells Yvonne, he says, "We think it's cancer. You should go to Sick Kids Hospital now and don't stop."
Wow.
Imagine hearing that.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
And yet she remains, just so composed. She's determined to find the best care for Samantha.
Right. And I think that's a testament to her strength and resilience.
Totally. And this is where things get really interesting. At Sick Kids, the family encounters this, wave of medical jargon.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got CBC, bone marrow aspirate, HLA typing. I mean, it's a lot to take in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think most people in that situation would just feel totally overwhelmed.
Absolutely. But the thing is, the Stanberrys, they don't just passively accept the information. They're actively trying to figure it all out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Trying to decipher what it means for Samantha. They're taking notes. The book even includes copies of their notes and medical records, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
Gives us a glimpse into their journey of understanding.
Totally. So what does all of this lead to? Well, the initial fear of leukemia is thankfully dispelled.
Right.
But the relief is, short-lived.
Right.
Samantha is diagnosed with aplastic anemia.
Right.
And for those who aren't familiar with aplastic anemia, it's a really rare and serious condition where the bone marrow, essentially, it doesn't produce enough new blood cells.
Right.
And the book actually does a really good job of explaining this in a way that I think anyone can understand.
Yes.
It highlights how critical platelets are in preventing bleeding, what happens when they're dangerously low.
Yeah.
There's this one part where a doctor actually uses this great analogy.
Oh, yeah.
He compares the bone marrow to a factory that produces red blood cells and platelets.
That's a really good way to put it. It's a complex medical concept, but when you put it like that.
Yeah. So this diagnosis obviously changes everything for the Stanberry family. Samantha's condition is really serious. Her platelet levels are so low that even a minor injury could be life-threatening. Right. And so now the family's thrust into this world of bone marrow transplants and experimental treatments, and the stakes could not be higher.
Yeah, absolutely. And the book really doesn't shy away from that emotional roller coaster. The hope, the fear, the uncertainty. It's all there.
Right.
But amidst all the medical drama, there's this seed being planted, this unexpected consequence of Samantha's illness.
Okay.
That will shape the entire family's future.
Oh, wow. So we left off with the Stanberry family facing this really daunting reality of Samantha's aplastic anemia diagnosis.
Right.
The search for a bone marrow donor is on, but the chances of finding a match within the family are, pretty slim.
Yeah.
It's just a really heartbreaking situation.
Yeah.
And the book, it doesn't sugarcoat any of the challenges they're going through.
It doesn't. And I think, one of the most striking things for me was just their determination to explore every single option.
Right.
They're not just, sitting back and waiting. They're actively researching. They're diving into this world of experimental treatments,
Yeah.
weighing the benefits against, some pretty significant risks. It's a huge decision.
Oh, absolutely.
No parent should have to make.
Mm.
And the book, I think, does a really great job of capturing that emotional weight.
Yeah, for sure. And the treatment that they end up choosing is, I mean, it's pretty intense. It involves this drug called Atcom.
Right.
And get this, it's actually derived from horses or rabbits.
Oh, wow.
When I read that, I was like, what?
That's incredible. Yeah.
It sounds unbelievable, but
Yeah.
it really highlights how far they were willing to go for Samantha.
Absolutely. And the book, it does explain, how Atgum works. It basically suppresses the immune system.
Right.
Which is, essentially what's attacking the bone marrow in aplastic anemia. It's a really powerful reminder of how interconnected our bodies are.
Yeah.
And how sometimes, the solution can come from the most unexpected places.
Yeah, absolutely. And the book doesn't just, tell us about the treatment. It actually shows us.
Right.
There's this incredibly detailed medication calendar that they kept.
Yeah.
And it's not just, dates and times. It's like full of all their little notes and observations.
Yeah.
Just little anecdotes. It really shows how all-consuming Samantha's care was.
It's like a powerful visual, right?
Yeah.
It brings that story to life. You can
Yeah.
almost feel their exhaustion, the worry, but also, just this unwavering love.
Oh, for sure.
That really kind of permeates their routine.
Totally. And speaking of, family and those bonds, there's this fascinating detail that I think really speaks volumes about how they faced this challenge.
Yeah.
Yvonne actually had just become a stay-at-home mom right before Samantha's diagnosis.
Wow.
It's one of those things that you read and you're like, oh, was that just coincidence?
Right. Was it fate?
Yeah. And this decision, I mean, made before they even knew about Samantha's illness, it ended up being crucial because it allowed Yvonne to just completely dedicate herself to Samantha's care.
Yeah.
Right.
It's incredible.
And it just kind of highlights how life throws these curveballs.
It does.
And sometimes, even in the midst of these really difficult times, it almost feels like things are aligning,
Yeah.
guiding us toward a path we might not have chosen, but ultimately we need to take.
Right.
It's a theme that I think runs throughout the whole book.
Absolutely.
So this brings us to a really pivotal moment in the story. It's years later. Samantha's health has stabilized, but the impact of her illness, it's definitely left its mark on the whole family.
Yeah.
One day, Clive Anthony, the son, asks this seemingly innocent question about a homeless man they see.
Right.
And Cleveland, the father, he offers this explanation that, on the surface it might seem a little harsh,
Okay.
but he tells Clive Anthony that the man is homeless because he didn't do his homework.
Wow.
Now, I think we could debate the merits of this approach to parenting.
Right.
But what's really fascinating is how this big lie, as the book calls it, becomes a catalyst for the children's incredible educational journeys.
Right.
It plants this seed.
Yeah.
It connects effort and opportunity.
Right.
And it really resonates deeply with each of them.
It does. And it's not just about fear, right? It's about understanding the power that education has
Right.
to shape their own destinies.
Yeah, exactly. And it's amazing to see how this, seemingly simple statement just sparks this fire within all of them.
Right.
This drive to excel that propels them to do these really remarkable things.
It's amazing.
And this is where the book's title, It's Never Too Late, sometimes, really comes into focus. It's not just about Samantha's recovery.
Right.
It's about the family's realization that even when you face adversity, there's always an opportunity to learn, to grow.
To strive for something more.
Yeah. So the children, they all go on to pursue these different paths. You've got law, you've got data science, and they each achieve this incredible success.
They do.
But, it begs the question, how do they manage to pay for university?
And the book really details how she navigates financial constraints, a really demanding work schedule. And, it's a testament to her resilience and her commitment to reaching her goal.
Right. And it's not just about, this individual grit. I mean, the book really does a great job of illustrating how important family support was to their success. Yvonne and Cleveland, the parents, they emerge as these pillars of strength, constantly guiding and encouraging their kids.
Right. And, their approach to parenting is so interesting. They really instilled this respect for education, but not in this, overbearing way.
Yeah, yeah.
Not through lectures or pressure,
Right.
but by fostering this environment of curiosity
Yeah,
and really open dialogue.
for sure. And one of the things that really struck me was, they used humor to cope
Yeah.
with all the stress of Samantha's treatment schedule.
Right.
And, it makes you realize that laughter can be such a powerful tool
Oh, absolutely.
for resilience,
Yeah.
even in those really dark times.
It is. It's this beautiful reminder that, even in the face of adversity, joy and laughter can be these incredible sources of strength.
Yeah,
And it speaks to the Stanberries, ability to just, find that light in the darkness, to maintain that sense of hope,
for sure.
even when things were really, really tough.
Yeah, for sure. So it's never too late.
Yeah.
Sometimes, this book, it's a story that I think will stay with you
Yeah.
long after you finish reading it.
Yeah.
And it's a great reminder that, setbacks don't define us,
Right.
that challenges can be these catalysts for growth,
Yeah.
and that, with love, with support, with a little bit of humor, we can overcome, some pretty incredible odds.
Absolutely. The Stanbury family's journey, I think it's a true inspiration.
Yeah.
It encourages us to embrace lifelong learning, to support each other, and to never give up on our dreams.
Right. So if you're looking for a story that's going to uplift you, that's going to inspire you, and just leave you with this renewed sense of hope,
Yeah.
I highly recommend checking out. It's never too late sometimes. You can find it on Amazon.
Yeah. We'll put a link in the show notes.
But be sure to include a link.
Yeah, it's a book that'll make you think, make you feel, and maybe even inspire you to, go on your own journey.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, hey, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Absolutely.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning,
Yes.
and remember, it's never too late sometimes.